This week on Talking Pictures with Neil Rosen, we'll look at the new movie To Catch a Killer, starring Shailene Woodley. Ray Romano's latest, Somewhere in Queens, co-starring Laurie Metcalf. A new documentary about the life and career of Michael J. Fox, plus a look at the final season of the sci-fi series Picard, which reunites the entire cast of Star Trek: The Next Generation. We've got all that and many more movie picks coming up. I'm Neil Rosen. Welcome to Talking Pictures. It's our monthly Critic Roundtable show where we debate what's worth watching and what's not when it comes to new releases, hidden gems, and Hollywood classics. Joining me today are Lisa Rosman from Signs and Sirens, Bill Bregoli from WSYR, and Mike Sargent from WBAI and the Brown and Black podcast. So let's start out with a look at several new films and limited series in theaters and or streaming, beginning with a movie called To Catch a Killer, starring Shailene Woodley as a cop trying to track down a serial killer who's terrorizing a big city. Let's take a look at a clip.
I don't think this guy is looking for destruction. I think he's looking for relief.
Do you have a feeling that he's going to do it again?
Yes,
Why?
because he liked it.
How do you know?
He killed 29 people. Otherwise, he would have stopped at 2.
Well, why did he stop shooting at all? I mean, why not kill 50, 60? Was it because the fireworks stopped? And so there was no more cover for the gunshots?
Yeah, maybe.
Bullshit. Don't patronize me. Tell me what you think.
I think he got his fill.
Bill Bregoli, tell us about To Catch a Killer.
Well, it starts off with a bang, so to speak, as a sniper takes advantage of a New Year's Eve fireworks show in Baltimore to gun down revelers. And a young beat cop, played by Shailene Woodley, examines the evidence, and she catches the eye of a crusty but benign FBI agent, played by Ben Mendelsohn. And he thinks she's just troubled enough, because every cop in every of these movies is troubled, apparently. She's just troubled enough to get him into the mind of the killer. And the unlikely pair is soon on his trail.
What do you think?
Well, it's beautifully shot by a man named Javier Yulia, but the script tries to do too much. It's taking shots at politicians, the NRA, mental health care, the media, and it's all at the expense of the characters who are underwritten and kind of two-dimensional. Luckily, Woodley and Mendelsohn try their hardest to make this work.
Mike?
There was a time where you would have said this felt like a made-for-cable movies, but they make great movies for cable now. This is not a great movie. It's okay. Shailene Woodley is okay. I like Ben Mendelsohn. What was it you called him? Benign, but what?
Crusty but benign.
Crusty but benign. He does crusty
but banal, I think is what you meant.
Crusty but benign is a good accurate description. I like the movie. I didn't love it. Shailene Woodley, I really don't know what to do with her.
You know what, it feels like this is Shailene Woodley's attempt to shed the last vestiges of her YA film career, and it's safe to say she overcorrected, maybe. I love Ben Mendelsohn, like love.
So do I.
And I'm a sucker for a good crime procedural, but this is not that. It's very grim film, and honestly, its grammar doesn't make sense, so it's not worth investing in. I would say pass.
We've seen this kind of manhunt serial killer movie done many times before, but I think what elevates this is Shailene Woodley, who I like, and Ben Mendelsohn, as you said. I love Ben Mendelsohn.
I love the Ben Mendelsohn.
I know.
I love him.
And he's doing, by the way, he's English, he's British. He's doing a really good American accent.
Very good.
You know, and as you said, Mike, it's not a great film, but it's kind of suspenseful. And I think it's shot, as you said, Bill, very well. It's shot in Canada, even though it's supposed to be Baltimore, but blowing up the city in that opening sequence, that's shot quite well. Listen, not a great film, but for a thriller of this kind, it's kind of engaging. It held my
You are really laboring to give it a pass.
I'm giving it a pass. I'm not saying it's terrific. I'm giving it a pass.
Here's the last thing. The title and the unimaginativeness of the title should tell you everything.
There you go.
Lisa, it is not the Tina Turner biopic, but there's another movie called What's Love Got to Do with It?
I was so crestfallen that it wasn't the Tina Turner movie, I have to say. This instead is a cross-cultural London set romantic comedy. It stars Lily James, who's not Lily Collins. I always get those two broads mixed up. They're both British, young, pretty, dark-haired girls. She stars here as a commitment-phobic documentarian who tries to resuscitate her career by filming her hunky doctor neighbor Shahzad Latif's journey to an arranged marriage. Okay, fill in the blank, stalls. It's directed by Shekhar Kapoor, and it gets points for not privileging the white Western perspective on these traditions, and it gets points for Emma Thompson as James's daffy mom. She's characteristically delightful. Never can go wrong with Emma Thompson. But while I am a sucker for a good rom-com, this movie suffers from deja vu all over again. It feels like a sanitized echo of an echo of an echo, and honestly, there's nothing explicitly awful about it. It's just unessential.
You know what's going to happen. That's
All the way
with this.
through.
You know exactly that they're going to meet up in the end. Sorry, folks, if I spoiled this for you.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, you know from the
Meet
opening
up.
frame of that. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
But it's not delightful enough for it. I mean, we always know what's going to happen in a rom-com. The problem here is you don't care much about them, and they don't have much chemistry.
Would you recommend it,
no.
Mike?
Well, all right. First of all, I went into it going, why did they call this What's Love Got to Do with It? I mean,
So rude.
why?
Well,
But
I'll
then
tell
I
you
saw the
why.
film- well, when you
Because
see
it's
the
about
film,
arranged marriages where they're not in love.
Okay,
and-
thank you for explaining. Let him explain it.
All right, explain.
Lord.
They were
Right.
called
Okay.
assisted marriages.
well, Neil writes my scripts. But what I was going to say
The writer's
is
strike.
that basically, that when you see the film, you realize why they wanted to call it that. And it is about arranged marriages. And I enjoyed, like you said, I enjoyed Emma Thompson, and I enjoyed the fact that this is a romantic comedy that, because it's written by somebody who comes from a different culture, that embraces that culture and uplifts that culture. That's the best thing about
That's
the
the
movie.
best thing, for real.
About the movie is to see all these things. We've seen a million movies about other cultures. You know,
Listen.
this is a good one.
For a rom-com, you know, this is an interesting take on it. I mean, I didn't know much. I mean, I've heard about, as Bill Bregoli said, right? They're not called arranged marriages anymore. They're called assisted marriages. But I've heard about this and didn't know much about it and thought it was like kind of a ridiculous concept for the 21st century. But this was kind of eye-opening in a sense. It's like, oh, this is interesting. And yeah, even though you totally, as you said, Bregoli, you know where this thing is going. I don't know, you know, there's an even-handedness. This is not condescending the way the filmmaker looked at this. There was a, you know, kind of like it was a balanced look at this, and I'm like, oh, this is an interesting look at Muslim culture, and I give the thing credit for that. And I think, yeah, I always confuse them also. I think Lily James, not Lily Collins, I think she was good, and I
She's
think
better than Lily Collins, actually.
Shahzad Latif, who plays the guy who's going to go into the assistant marriage, I think he was good too, and I think together they have good chemistry.
Oh, no.
Also,
No.
oh no, really?
No.
Oh, well,
They're both hunky, but they're not attractive.
well, okay.
together.
Again, like the last film, I don't think this is great, and I think it's okay. The couples telling the stories about their arranged marriages, that's right out of Harry Met Sally with the blank background.
Well,
We met when we were
and that
15.
trope has been used so many times. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
It's like
I
a
know.
cliche of a cliche at this point.
I think it's a nice ride, not great. Okay.
Come on, man.
All right, let's move on. Mike, first of all, I want to thank you for recommending this film. I love this, and I'll talk about this later. But tell me about The Artifice Girl.
Well, The Artifice Girl does something that I think is very difficult to do. It's a science fiction film that's made with not a lot of money, but it's very satisfying, and it really delves into the topic. The premise is this. We see these people, these agents, pull this man into a room, and they keep asking about this young girl who's helping them catch.
Explain how young.
All right, this is a young girl, like a 10 to 12-year-old girl, who's helping them catch child pedophiles, child predators, whatnot. They're happy to get this, but they're worried about her. So they're trying to get him to tell her, they're trying to get him to tell them who she is, where she is, and can they get in contact with her. Finally, he admits she's not real. Once that happens, you start to go, an AI that's going to actually help solve an important crime. The whole premise really then becomes, in my opinion, really powerful. It's only 3 or 4 people in a room talking. It takes place over several decades. And it's the first film from Franklin Rich, okay? For me, this is a film that completely works. I thought Tatum Matthews, who plays the Artifice Girl, is perfect. And if you're a fan of Lance Henriksen, this film has an extended cameo by him that is a nod to all the things he's ever done.
Mike, you and I have this special bond with like very intelligently written sci-fi films. And when you recommended this, I'm like, okay, Mike's recommending this. I got to check this out. And I always say, I don't care if a movie doesn't have special effects or car crashes or anything like that. If you have a really intelligent story and you have a really good cast to execute that story, this movie takes place, for the most part, in one room. And they're just talking, and I don't care. I'm captivated the entire way through. This guy, Franklin Rich, who stars in it, wrote it and directed it, I think this guy is a genius. This dialogue, I'm just sitting there with my mouth open going, this is just brilliant. And it's also a cautionary tale for the future about AI and with that, what do we call that chat GPT thing?
Chat GPT.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is like, oh my God. I mean, it goes 50 years into the future and you're like, my God, look at what humanity might come to. I mean, we've been watching sci-fi movies since we've been kids. We're like, the robots are gonna take over and stuff like that. And without any special effects, I think this thing is great. Yes, Lisa?
I also love quirky, intelligent sci-fi, for the record. But this one has very interesting notions wrapped into it. But to me, I actually just feel like it doesn't go far enough in terms of delivering thundering intellectual revelations, and it kind of has to, because as you guys have said, this whole movie takes place in essentially one room. Essentially it's a play that's filmed.
It could
right?
be. It could have been a play.
It could be a play.
I said
so
that to you,
and my thing is if a movie's basically going to be a play, then it better really deliver on A, the performances, and B, it better blow your socks off in terms of how far it takes its ideas. And honestly, that's not true of this film. So I admire it. I admire the timeliness of it. It's uncanny how timely it is. But I don't think I think it's half baked.
It blew
felt
my
like
socks off.
It feels like an hour and a half long debate about AI. But if you're looking for To Catch a Predator, you're not going to have that. I mean,
Yeah.
the central thing doesn't go anywhere.
No.
And you weren't interested at all in you don't think it goes anywhere?
I think you should read some good New Yorker articles instead, frankly.
I don't
like,
know.
do a
I'm
deep
with-
dive on the
I
inside.
think that
I
need
think
to
you should
get some
play with
AI
ChatGPT.
critics here. Agree with you. And, the
Mike,
artifice
again,
critic.
thank
They
you
should
for
look-
recommending this. I think it's brilliant. And we should make more movies like this.
That's awesome.
Somewhere in Queens is the name of a new movie written, directed, and starring Ray Romano. Let's take a look at a clip.
Who's this, Sticks?
Oh, this is Danny. I mean, her name's Danielle, but yeah.
Hi again. And I guess just a first hi to you, Mr. Russo.
Yeah, hi. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Say something.
Oh, you said hi already.
Where you from, Danielle?
Forest Hills Gardens?
Oh.
Not the ritzy part. We're mostly normal. Got the smallest house on the block, right, Maddie?
You been to her house?
Not in it, but, yeah.
We gotta go, Maddie.
I gotta drive to work.
Oh, we were gonna go to Corona, get some lemon ices, celebrate everything. You could come.
Oh, that's so nice. But my boss sucks. If I'm late, he's an idiot, so.
Told I'd drive her, so let's go.
Lisa, does everybody love Raymond's new movie?
Well, as you said, Doctor, this is the directorial debut from Ray Romano. And as we know, he made his name with the beloved Queen set sitcom. And let's be honest, he's not straying far from his comfort zone here. He plays a contractor from a big working-class Italian family. He has a cancer survivor wife, Lori Metcalf, and an excruciatingly anxious high school senior son, Jacob Ward. This kid, though, is an outstanding basketball player, and he's poised to score a full-ride college scholarship until, ... his girlfriend breaks up with him, which is a problem that Romano attempts to solve with legendary ineptitude. It's always a pleasure to watch Metcalf and Romano, in my opinion. And I think Metcalf is one of the greatest performers of her generation. And I think Romano has ended up being a really terrific comedic and dramatic actor. But the problem with this film is that, to me, it's the worst of both sitcoms and indies. It's sort of dull and meandering in that indie style, but it doesn't deliver much depth. And it has a gimmicky premise like a sitcom, but it does not have sitcom zingers. So I can't write this off entirely because I really enjoy watching these actors work, but I don't think this is a great film.
I got grossed out when he tried to get the girl to go back with
Yeah,
his
it was
son.
awful. It was awful.
That was,
I think
you're
that's the
gonna do
point.
that?
No, but even if it's the point, it's a creepy premise.
Yeah, that's creepy. And as an Italian American who lives in Queens,
Yeah.
that's not my part of Queens, I'll tell you.
Those aren't your people? You don't feel like it's authentic?
No, my neighborhood has got more different nationalities within 3 buildings than you ever see. It's not an Italian American mecca. I did relate to the grandmother who cooked the meatballs and went back to make them all from scratch again, because that has happened in my family. a few times, but I didn't relate to much of this.
Mike?
It seems, okay, I never watched Everybody Loves Raymond, okay?
It's actually a very funny
I
sitcom.
only know who he is because of who he is.
Well, he's the same guy here as he is in that.
Well, that's kind of what I got the impression. I got the impression it's the same. It seemed like a low-key sitcom, but that was stuck somewhere in the 90s where, yeah, life has moved on, the neighborhoods have moved on, sensibilities have moved on, humor has moved on, but this story has not. I thought it was mildly entertaining.
Well, the story doesn't often go where you think it would go predictably. You don't keep getting these like, oh, and this wonderful thing is good, and this nice thing. It kind of goes in a different direction, and I kind of like that. Romano, as you never watched Raymond, I mean, he could play this kind of role with one eye closed. I mean,
he basically does here.
Yeah, but he could also write the script.
But I like the writing. There was a really good series that Ray Romano was in called Men of a Certain Age, and he co-wrote this script with one of the co-creators, writers of that particular series. This guy's name is Mark Stedman. And, I think that, it's a likable comedy with some heart, and there's a bit of pain in this too. As you said, Bill Bregoli, yeah, it is cringeworthy when Romano does something with but I think that's the point. I think you're supposed to, I mean, certainly Laurie Metcalf's reaction, everybody else's reaction was cringeworthy, and I like Laurie Metcalf. And I think the two actors who play the son, Jacob Ward, and the girl is very good, Sadie Stanley, very good. So again, I think it's a likable comedy, and it's not a typical rom-com, although, they have this catering hall, the Versailles Palace or something. I don't know, there's a couple of laughs in it. I think it's okay. I don't think it's worth going to the movie theaters to see. I think if it comes on Netflix or it comes
I honestly think what this teaches us is that Romano should stick to TV. It's a better format for him.
Maybe so, maybe so. All right. Mike, speaking about new docs, tell us about Still, a Michael J. Fox movie.
Well, Still is the other end of the spectrum. This is a documentary about Michael J. Fox's life, his meteoric, is that how I pronounce it?
That sounds great.
Meteoric rise to fame in the 80s, and then the diagnosis he got in 1991 that we all know about, that he's still living with Parkinson's disease. This movie, because there's so much Michael J. Fox footage, it feels like a Michael J. Fox movie. And his narration is perfect. I think he's the person who should be telling his story. It's heartfelt, it's moving, it's fascinating. It made me actually want to go back and watch Family Ties, and I've never really watched Family Ties. So I like this movie quite a bit.
The beginning of this is so cheesy that I honestly, where he sets up this narration where his little pinky is quivering. It's the way he narrates it, the way they shot it is so cheesy that I had this moment of like, I honestly don't know if I'm going to make it through the first 5 minutes of this. But the thing is, Michael J. Fox's charm has always risen above cheesy material. That has
I was just going to say that. That's how Michael J. Fox movies are.
Right. So, I mean, I feel like really, ultimately, how much you like this is dependent on how tolerant you are of the film's use of footage from his old movies and TVs as reenactments of his actual story.
Well, didn't you think that was brilliant, though?
I was on the fence. I was about to tell you before you interrupted me, so I'll just keep on talking.
Keep on going.
No, it's just like,
my friend.
For me, I was on the fence. Like, I feel like a little went a long way, and this went on and on till the break of dawn in terms of using that. I appreciated, honestly, what I think is most interesting about this is that he has a total lack of self-pity. And I really found that interesting. But I also, at times, felt like it was accompanied by a lack of self-reflection, which made me feel a little bit like, why am I watching?
I liked that it made out how supportive his family was. That I really appreciated because
Tracy Pollan.
Yeah, exactly.
The great Tracy Pollan.
But the gimmick that Lisa talked about, where he talks about making a phone call and then they cut to an old sitcom where his character's making that wore on me after a while.
See?
Well, there's thousands of hours of footage of Michael J.
And
Fox.
I feel like I watched thousands of hours of footage.
From TV shows and movies where if he is making a phone call or if he is doing something, you could probably find a clip from Family Ties or Spin City
literally
or
that's
Back to
what
the
they
Future
did.
where he's doing that. And I kind of found that was interesting. Look, I like this movie. The first hour, it's like an hour and a half documentary, it's really not concentrating on the Parkinson's disease. It's really kind of like the look at Michael J. Fox's life and and I found that very interesting, how he was a struggling actor from Montreal, he didn't have enough food to eat, and he miraculously got this job on Family Ties. He was going to pack it in and go back to Canada.
This is the story of every actor who didn't come from a moneyed family.
I just kind of like Brandon Tartikoff, who was the head honcho at NBC, didn't want to cast him.
You just described any actor's story. I can't believe you described that as revelatory.
Well, I don't know. He was a superstar. I like the fact that he went incognito with sunglasses and a hat at the height of his fame to a newsstand and looked at. He was on the cover of every single magazine. And those movie clips reminded me of why everybody loved Michael J. Fox, including everybody loved Michael J. Fox.
Except Lisa.
No, I do. I said I like him. I like him. And I even kind of admire the movie.
Look,
but everything you're naming is not
Okay,
revelatory.
but the last
It's
half
so
an hour of the
cliched.
movie, which is not, I mean, it doesn't take, yes, it is heartbreaking that he has this disease, but they don't make it in such a downbeat way. I mean, they show you he's in front of Congress, he's trying to get money for his Parkinson's Foundation to find a cure, to help people with the disease. And he's kind of a tough guy. I mean, he's not just, you know, like you said, it's not self-pitying. I mean, you know, he's just like hanging in there and showing you all warts and all, how he's falling down from the disease and everything like that.
The documentary completely takes its tone from him, which is to say self-pitying, charismatic, and glib.
I think it's an excellent, admirable
Well,
documentary.
and I also think, though, to your point, Lisa, I have to say I disagree in that I think that part of that first hour of seeing, it's just every actor's story. It's everybody's
That's
success
what I'm
story,
saying.
except this happened.
Right.
And I feel that that makes it even more powerful.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah, if you're a Michael J. Fox fan, it'd be fine. If you're sick and you can't afford the kind of health care that Michael J. Fox can afford, you might not want to watch this.
That's actually a really
That's
good
a
point.
good point.
That's a
That's a
great
good- that is an
point,
interesting
Bregoli.
point.
Right on.
The sad sack story is Michael J. Fox gets this debilitating disease and it crushes him.
Yeah, that's boring.
When it rains, our ancestors weep for the pain we have felt in the dark hulls of ships bound for distant shores. When the wind blows, our ancestors push us to march into battle against those who enslave us. When it thunders, our ancestors demand we rip the shackles of doubt from our minds and fight with courage. We fight not just for today, but for the future. We are the spear of victory.
That was a clip from the film The Woman King. It happens to be Mike Sargent's personal choice as we go around the panel with our critics' picks of the month. Mike.
Well, this is a film that should have gotten a lot more acclaim and should have been seen by a lot more people, probably a lot more Academy members. But it basically tells a story of an all-female warrior unit from, I think they're called the Agoji, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, from the city of Dahomey, and this is in the 1800s. And they were an all-female warrior unit. It's a great story. It's got a great performance from Viola Davis. It's something I think that should have been nominated in a number of categories, but it's a film that I suggest that you see if you haven't.
You saw it, Bill. You loved it.
Yeah, I was telling people to watch this because it's got everything you want in a Marvel film. It's got action, it's got heroes, it's got tons of action, people kicking butt, a great story, and so it's a little different. It's fun.
It's great that it's a little different. I loved this movie. I brought my goddaughters to see this movie. It really busted me that it sank without as much notice as it deserved. And Viola's always amazing, and it's clear this is a passion project
And it's
for
clear
her.
she did a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, my goddaughter started doing martial arts after she saw this. It's awesome.
She got an Oscar nomination and
Yeah.
didn't win, and I actually predicted that she would win. I was kind of disappointed.
Because you didn't see Michelle Yeoh that year? I mean,
I don't know. I liked Viola Davis.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, Bill, what's your pick this month?
It's Polite Society. It follows a young Pakistani girl living in London, and she dreams of becoming a stunt woman. But when her usually supportive older sister Lena decides to marry a wealthy suitor named Salim in a, again, arranged marriage, she becomes suspicious of his family, and she decides she's going to break up this wedding. Think Bend It Like Beckham meets Bollywood meets Bruce Lee. Who says there's no such thing as an original plot? It's a first-time director, and Nina Manzoor, and really, they should give her a Bond film to put together. This is fun. It's a genre mashup, and it moves like a freight train, and I wish more people would see it.
You know, it also has a whiff of Scott Pilgrim versus the World in its sort of fantastical fight sequences, but it has a brain and a heart. I dug this movie.
Yeah, if you like martial art, kung fu action sequences, it's like nonstop in this particular movie.
It's wire work and all that stuff, and it's also about sisters loving each other and family stuff.
Sure, a positive female message. Look, you boys are really the feminists today.
There you
Very
go.
impressed.
Well, what's your pick, Lisa?
A feminist movie, obviously. It's called Other People's Children. So far in 2023, all my favorite films have been international imports, and this is a French drama about a child free. By the way, that is the expression we child-free women use. We do not say childless, we say child-free. Woman who is 40-something, she's a teacher, and she develops an attachment to her boyfriend's daughter. It's directed by this woman, Rebecca Zlotowski. I'm gonna mispronounce all the names here, I apologize. And it stars this woman, Virginie Efira, who some people may recognize from the lesbian nun thriller, Benedetta, which is amazing. She's such a wonderful actress, like completely visually compelling and such a heartfelt performer. And she's even more nuanced here. This is a beautifully melancholy film about female solitude and disappointment and the precariousness, I think, about modern kinship structures.
Yes. Well, my pick is the third and final season of the streaming series Picard. Now, I was a big fan of the TV series Star Trek The Next Generation, as my buddy Mike Sargent was as well, but it's been over 20 years since their last feature-length film, which wasn't very good. It's called Nemesis, and the first 2 seasons of the recent series Picard were also quite disappointing, but this last standalone season of Picard is a thrill ride that reunites the entire Next Generation cast and does so in a way that'll more than please any fan of the series. It's a nostalgia trip, and the story is not only so smart and so well written, there are tons of Easter eggs, as well as other nods to the original Next Generation show. It's action-packed, it's thought-provoking, funny at times, and in the end, it's actually quite emotional. If you were turned off by the first 2 seasons of Picard, as I was, but loved the brilliant combination of intellectual sci-fi writing in The Next Generation, combined with the wonderful chemistry of the cast, I urge you to watch Picard Season 3. I won't give away any spoilers, just engage, as Captain Jean-Luc Picard would say, and you'll be thoroughly entertained.
Make it so.
Well, that's about all the time we have. I want to thank the panel, Lisa Rosman, Bill Bregoli, and Mike Sargent. I'm Neil Rosen. Join us next time on Talking Pictures.